Hi everybody, welcome back to Yehusha's Glory. Been a while since I did a video. I just wanted to get back after it and finish up the book of Jubilees with you. We're in chapter 34 in Jubilees on page 247 in the Sefer. And in the 6th year of this week of this 44th Jubilee, Yaakov sent his sons to pasture their sheep and his servants with them to the pastures of Shechem. And the 7 kings of the Amorim assembled themselves together against them to slay them, hiding themselves under the trees and to take their cattle as prey. And Yaakov and Levi and Yehuda and Joseph were in the house with Yitzhak their father, for his ruach was sorrowful, and they could not leave him. And Benjamin was the youngest, and for this reason remained with his father. And there came the kings of Taphu, and the kings of Aresa, and the kings of Saragan, and the kings of Salo, and the kings of Gas, and the king of Beit Koron, and the king of Manisakir, and all those who dwell in these mountains, and who dwell in the woods in the land of Canaan. And they announced this to Yaakov, saying, Behold, the kings of the Amorim have surrounded your sons and plundered their herds. And he arose from his house, he and his 3 sons, and all the servants of his father, and his own servants, and he went against them with 6,000 men who carried swords. And he slew them in the pastures of Shechem, and pursued those who fled, and he slew them with the edge of the sword. And he slew Aresa, and Taphu, and Saragan, and Selo, and Manisakir, and Gas, and he recovered his herds. And he prevailed over them, and imposed tribute on them, that they should pay him tribute 5 fruit products of their land. And he built Robel and Tamnaters. And he returned in peace, and made peace with them, and they became his servants, until the day that he and his sons went down into Mitzrayim. And in the 7th year of this week, he sent Joseph to learn about the welfare of his brothers from his house to the land of Shechem, and he found them in the land of Dothan. And they dealt treacherously with him, and formed a plot against him to slay him, but changed their minds. They sold him to Ishmaeli merchants, and they brought him down into Mitzrayim, and they sold him to Potiphar, the eunuch of Pharaoh, the chief of the cooks, priest of the city of Elu. And the sons of Yaakov slaughtered a kid, and dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood, and sent it to Yaakov their father on the 10th of the 7th month. And he mourned all that night, for they had brought it to him in the evening, and he became feverish and mourning for his death. And he said, An evil beast has devoured Joseph, and all the members of his house mourned with him that day, and they were grieving and mourning with him all that day. And his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted for his son. And on that day Bilhah heard that Joseph had perished, and she died mourning him. And she was living in Kaphrateph, and Dinah also his daughter died after Joseph had perished. And there came these 3 mournings upon Israel in 1 month, and they buried Bilhah over against the tomb of Rachel, and Dinah also his daughter they buried there. And he mourned for Joseph 1 year, and did not cease, for he said, Let me go down to Sheol, mourning for my son. For this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day that the news which made him weep for Joseph came to Yaakov his father, that they should make atonement for themselves thereon with a young goat on the 10th of the 7th month, once a year for their sins, for they had grieved the affection of their father regarding Joseph his son. And this day has been ordained that they should grieve thereon for their sins, and for all their transgressions, and for all their errors, so that they might cleanse themselves on that day once a year. And after Joseph perished, the sons of Yaakov took unto themselves women. The name of Reuben's woman is Adah. The name of Shimon's woman is Adelbah, a Kenani. And the name of Levi's woman is Melchah, of the daughters of Aram, and of the seed of the sons of Terach. The name of Yehuda's woman, Betasuel, a Canaanite. The name of Issachar's woman, Hezekiah. And the name of Zebulun's woman, Naaman. And the name of Dan's woman, Eglah. The name of Naphtali's woman, Rasu of Aram Naharim. And the name of Gad's woman, Makkah. And the name of Asher's woman, Leona. And the name of Joseph's woman, Asenath, the Mitzrayim. And the name of Benjamin's woman, Iyasaka. And Shimon repented and took a second woman from Aram Naharim as his brothers. 35. And in the first year of the first week of the 45th Jubilee, Rivkah called Yaakov her son and commanded him regarding his father and regarding his brother, that he should honor them all the days of his life. And Yaakov said, I will do everything as you have commanded me, for this thing will be honor and greatness to me, and righteousness before Yahuwah, that I should honor them. And you too, mother, know from the time I was born until this day all my deeds and all that is in my heart, that I always think good concerning all. And how should I not do this thing which you have commanded me, that I should honor my father and my brother? Tell me, mother, what perversity have you seen in me? And I shall turn away from it, and mercy will be upon me. And she said unto him, My son, I have not seen in you all my days any perverse, but only upright deeds. And yet I will tell you the truth, my son. I shall die this year, and I shall not survive this year in my life, for I have seen in a dream the day of my death, and I should not live beyond 155 years. And behold, I have completed all the days of my life which I am to live. And Yaakov laughed at the words of his mother, because his mother had said unto him that she should die, and she was sitting opposite to him in possession of her strength. And she was not infirm in her strength, for she went in and out and saw, and her teeth were strong. No ailment had touched her all the days of her life. And Yaakov said to her, Blessed am I, mother, if my days approach the days of your life, and my strength remain with me thus as your strength. And you will not die, but you are jesting idly with me regarding your death. And she went into Yitzhak and said unto him, One petition I make unto you. Make Esau swear that he will not injure Yaakov, nor pursue him with enmity, for you know Esau's thoughts, that they are perverse from his youth, and there is no goodness in him, for he desires after your death to kill him. And you know all that he has done since the day Yaakov his brother went to Haran until this day, how he has forsaken us with his whole heart, and has done evil to us. Your flocks he has taken to himself, and carried off all your possessions from before your face. And when we implored and besought him for what was our own, he did as a man who was taking pity on us. And he is bitter against you, because you did bless Yaakov, your perfect and upright son. For there is no evil, but only goodness in him. And since he came from Haran unto this day, he has not robbed us of anything, for he brings us everything in its season always, and rejoices with all his heart when we take at his hands, and he blesses us, and has not parted from us since he came from Haran until this day, and he remains with us continually at home, honoring us. And Yitzhak said unto her, I too know and see the deeds of Yaakov who is with us, how that with all his heart he honors us. But I loved Esau formerly more than Yaakov, because he was the firstborn. But now I love Yaakov more than Esau, for he has done manifold evil deeds, and there is no righteousness in him, for all his ways are unrighteous and violence, and there is no righteousness around him. And now my heart is troubled because of all his deeds, and neither he nor his seed is to be saved, for they are those who will be destroyed from the earth, who will be rooted out from under the heavens. For he has forsaken the Elohim of Abraham, and gone after his women, and after their uncleanness, and after their error, he and his children. And you do bid me make him swear that he will not slay Yaakov his brother, even if he swear he will not abide by his oath, and he will not do good but evil only. But if he desires to slay Jacob his brother, into Jacob's hands will he be given, and he will not escape from his hands, for he will descend into his hands. And fear you not on account of Jacob, for the guardian of Jacob is great and powerful and honored and praised more than the guardian of Esau. And Rivkah sent and called Esau, and he came to her, and she said unto him, I have a petition, my son, to make unto you, and do you promise to do it, my son? And he said, I will do everything that you say unto me, and I will not refuse your petition. And she said unto him, I ask that the day I die, you will take me in and bury me near Sarah, your father's mother, and that you and Jacob will love each other, and that neither will desire evil against the other, but mutual love only. And so ye will prosper, my sons, and be honored in the midst of the land, and no enemy will rejoice over you, and ye will be a blessing and a mercy in the eyes of all those that love you. And he said, I will do all that you have told me, and I shall bury you on the day you die near Sarah, my father's mother, as you have desired, that her bones may be near your bones. And Jacob, my brother, also I shall love above all flesh, for I have not a brother in all the earth, but him only. And this is no great merit for me if I love him, for he is my brother, and we were sown together in your body, and together came we forth from your womb. And if I do not love my brother, whom shall I love? And I myself beg you to exhort Jacob concerning me and concerning my sons, for I know that he will assuredly be king over me and my sons. For on the day my father blessed him, he made him the higher and me the lower. And I swear unto you that I shall love him and not desire evil against him all the days of my life, but good only. And he swore unto her regarding all this matter, and she called Jacob before the eyes of Esau, and gave him commandment according to the words which she had spoken to Esau. And he said, I shall do your pleasure. Believe me that no evil will proceed from me or from my sons against Esau. And I shall be first in naught, save in love only. And they ate and drank, she and her sons, that night, and she died. 3 Jubilees and 1 week and 1 year old on that night, and her 2 sons, Esau and Jacob, buried her in the double cave near Sarah, their father's mother. 36. And in the 6th year of this week, Isaac called his 2 sons, Esau and Jacob, and they came to him, and he said unto them, My sons, I am going the way of my fathers to the eternal house where my fathers are. Wherefore, bury me near Abraham my father in the double cave, in the field of Ephron the Chittite, where Abraham purchased a sepulchre to bury in. In the sepulchre which I dug for myself, there bury me. And this I command you, my sons, that ye practice righteousness and uprightness on the earth, so that Yahuwah may bring upon you all that Yahuwah said that he would do to Abraham and his seed. And love one another, my sons, your brothers, as a man who loves his own soul, and let each seek in what he may benefit his brother, and act together on the earth, and let them love each other as their own souls. And concerning the question of idols, I command and admonish you to reject them and hate them, and love them not, for they are full of deception for those that worship them, and for those that bow down to them. Remember ye, my sons, Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham your father, and how I too worshipped him and served him in righteousness and in joy, that he might multiply you and increase your seed as the stars of heaven in multitude, and establish you on the earth as the plant of righteousness, which will not be rooted out until all the generations forever. And now I shall make you swear a great oath, for there is no oath which is greater than it, by the name, glorious and honored and great and well and splendid, great and splendid, and wonderful and mighty, which created the heavens and the earth, and all things together, that ye will fear him and worship him, and that each will love his brother with affection and righteousness, and that neither will desire evil against his brother from henceforth forever, all the days of your life, so that ye may prosper in all your deeds and not be destroyed. And if either of you devises evil against his brother, know that from henceforth everyone that devises evil against his brother shall fall into his hand, and shall be rooted out of the land of the living. And his seed shall be destroyed from under heaven. But on the day of turbulence and execration and indignation and anger, with flaming devouring fire as he burnt Sedom, so likewise will he burn his land and his city and all that is his. And he shall be blotted out of the Sefer of the discipline of the children of men, and not be recorded in the Sefer of life, but in that which is appointed to destruction. And he shall depart into external execration, so that their condemnation may be always renewed in hate, and in execration, and in wrath, and in torment, and in indignation, and in plagues, and in disease forever. I say and testify to you, my sons, according to the judgment which shall come upon the man who wishes to injure his brother. And he divided all his possessions between the two on that day, and he gave the larger portion to him that was the firstborn, and the tower and all that was about it, and all that Abraham possessed at the well of the oath. And he said, this larger portion I will give to the firstborn. And Esau said, I have sold to Yaakov, and given my birthright to Yaakov, to him let it be given, and I have not a single word to say regarding it, for it is his. And Isaac said, may a blessing rest upon you, my sons, and upon your seed this day, for ye have given me rest. My heart is not pained concerning his birthright, lest you should work wickedness on account of it. May Eliam bless the man that works righteousness, him and his seed forever. And he ended commanding them and blessing them. And they ate and drank together before him, and he rejoiced because there was one mind between them. And they went forth from him and rested that day and slept. And Isaac slept on his bed that day, rejoicing, and he slept the eternal sleep, and died 180 years old. He completed 25 weeks and 5 years, and his 2 sons, Esau and Yaakov, buried him. And Esau went to the land of Edom, to the mountains of Seir, and dwelt there. And Yaakov dwelt in the mountains of Chevron, in the tower of the land of the sojournings of his father Abraham. And he worshipped Yehusha with all his heart, and according to the visible commands, according as he had divided the days of his generations. And Leah his woman died in the 4th year of the 2nd week of the 45th Jubilee, and he buried her in the double cave near Rivkah his mother, to the left of the grave of Sarah his father's mother. And all her sons and his sons came to mourn over Leah his woman with him, and to comfort him regarding her, for he was lamenting her, for he loved her exceedingly, after Rachel her sister died. For she was perfect and upright in all her ways, and honored Yaakov. And all the days that she lived with him, he did not hear from her mouth a harsh word, for she was gentle and peaceable and upright and honorable. And he remembered all her deeds which she had done during her life, and he lamented her exceedingly, for he loved her with all his heart and with all his soul. 37. And on the day that Isaac, the father of Yaakov and Esau, died, the sons of Esau heard that Isaac had given the portion of the elder to his younger son Yaakov, and they were very angry. And they strove with their father, saying, why has your father given Yaakov the portion of the elder, and passed over you, although you are the elder, and Yaakov the younger? And he said unto them, because I sold my birthright to Yaakov for a small mess of lentils, and on the day my father sent me to hunt and catch, and bring him something that he should eat and bless me, he came with guile, and brought my father food and drink, and my father blessed him, and put me under his hand. And now our father has caused us to swear, me and him, that we shall not mutually devise evil, either against this brother, and that we shall continue in love and in peace, each with his brother, and not make our ways corrupt. And they said unto him, we shall not hearken unto you to make peace with him, for our strength is greater than his strength, and we are more powerful than he. We shall go against him, and slay him, and destroy him and his sons, and if you will not go with us, we shall do hurt to you also. So Esau Sorry to stop. I don't normally do this. Esau went and lived in the land of Seir, Seiyr. That's Syria. Just to let you know. So, they say basically, if you don't let us go destroy him and his sons, we're going to hurt you, Dad. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. Sorry about that. Okay, line 6. And now hearken unto us. Let us send to Aram and Pelesheth and Moab and Ammon, and let us choose for ourselves chosen men who are ardent for battle, and let us go against him and do battle with him, and let us exterminate him from the earth before he grows strong. And their father said unto them, do not go, and do not make war with him, lest ye fall before him. And they said unto him, this too is exactly your mode of action from your youth until this day, and you are putting your neck under his yoke. We shall not hearken to these words. And they sent to Aram and to Adoram and to the friend of their father, and they hired along with them 1,000 fighting men, chosen men of war. And there came to them from Moab and from the children of Ammon, those who were hired, 1,000 chosen men, and from Pelesheth 1,000 chosen men of war, and from Edom and from the Korim 1,000 chosen fighting men, and from the Kittaim mighty men of war. And they said unto their father, go forth with them and lead them, else we shall slay you. And he was filled with wrath and indignation on seeing that his sons were forcing him to go before them to lead them against Jacob his brother. But afterward he remembered all the evil which lay hidden in his heart against Jacob his brother, and he remembered not the oath which he had sworn to his father and to his mother, excuse me, that he would devise no evil all his days against Jacob his brother. And notwithstanding all this, Jacob knew not that they were coming against him to battle, and he was mourning for Leah his woman, until they approached very near to the tower with 4,000 warriors and chosen men of war. And the men of Chevron sent to him, saying, behold, your brother has come against you to fight you with 4,000 girt with the sword, and they carry shields and weapons. For they loved Jacob more than Esau. So they told him, for Jacob was a more liberal and merciful man than Esau. But Jacob would not believe until they came very near to the tower, and he closed the gates of the tower, and he stood on the battlements and spoke to his brother Esau, and said, noble is the comfort wherewith you have come to comfort me for my woman who has died. Is this the oath that you did swear to your father and again to your mother before they died? You have broken the oath, and on the moment that you did swear to your father, were you condemned? And then Esau answered and said unto him, neither the children of men nor the beasts of the earth have any oath of righteousness, which in swearing they have sworn an oath valid forever, but every day they devise evil one against another, and how each may slay his adversary and foe. And you do hate me and my children forever, and there is no observing the tie of brotherhood with you. Hear these words which I declare unto you. If the boar can change its skin and make its bristles as soft as wool, or if it can cause horns to sprout forth on its head like the horns of a stag or of a sheep, then will I observe the tie of brotherhood with you. And if the beasts separated themselves from their mother, for you have not been a brother to me. And if the wolves make peace with the lambs, so as not to devour or do them violence, and if their hearts are towards them for good, then there shall be peace in my heart towards you. And if the lion becomes the friend of the ox, and makes peace with him, and if he is bound under one yoke with him and plows with him, then will I make peace with you. And when the raven becomes white as the raza, then know that I have loved you and shall make peace with you. You shall be rooted out, and your sons shall be rooted out, and there shall be no peace for you. And when Jacob saw that he was so evilly disposed toward him with his heart, with all his soul, as to slay him, and that he had come springing like the wild boar which comes upon the spear that pierces and kills it, and recoils not from it, then he spoke to his own, and to his servants, that they should attack him and all his companions. 38. And after that Yehuda spoke to Jacob his father, and said unto him, Bend your bow, father, and send forth your arrows, and cast down the adversary, and slay the enemy, and may you have the power, for we shall not slay your brother, for he is such as you, and he is like you. Let us give him this honor. Then Jacob bent his bow, and sent forth the arrow, and struck Esau his brother on his right breast, and slew him. And again he sent forth an arrow, and struck Adoram the Aramean on the left breast, and drove him backward, and slew him. And then went forth the sons of Jacob, they and their servants, dividing themselves into companies on the four sides of the tower. And Yehuda went forth in front, and Naphtali and Gad with him, and 50 servants with him on the south side of the tower. And they slew all they found before them, and not one individual of them escaped. And Levi and Dan and Asher went forth on the east side of the tower, and 50 men with them, and they slew the fighting men of Moab and Ammon. And Reuben and Issachar and Zebulun went forth on the north side of the tower, and 50 men with them, and they slew the fighting men of the Pelishtim. And Shimon and Benjamin and Hanok, Reuben's son, went forth on the west side of the tower, and 50 men with them, and they slew of Edom and of the Korim 400 men, stout warriors, and 600 fled, and 4 of the sons of Esau fled with them, and left their father lying slain, as he had fallen on the hill which is in Adoram. And the sons of Jacob pursued after them to the mountains of Seir. And Jacob buried his brother on the hill which is in Adoram, and he returned to his house. And the sons of Jacob pressed hard upon the sons of Esau on the mountains of Seir, and bowed their necks, bowed their necks, so that they became servants of the sons of Jacob. And they sent to their father to inquire whether they should make peace with them, or slay them. And Jacob sent word to his sons that they should make peace. And they made peace with them, and placed the yoke of servitude upon them, so that they paid tribute to Jacob and his sons always. And they continued to pay tribute to Jacob until the day that he went down into Mitzrayim. And the sons of Edom have not got free of the yoke of servitude, which the 12 sons of Jacob had imposed on them until this day. And these are the kings that reigned in Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel until this day in the land of Edom. And Balak, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Danaba. And Balak died, and Yovav, the son of Zerach of Botzrah, reigned in his stead. And Yovav died, and Shusham of the land of Taman reigned in his stead. And Shusham died, and Adath, the son of Berad, who slew Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avith. And Adath died, and Salmon from Amasekah reigned in his stead, and Salmon died. And Shaul of Rovath by the river reigned in his stead, and Shaul died, and Baolunan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead, and Baolunan, the son of Akbor, died, and Adath reigned in his stead. And the name of his woman was Maitabith, the daughter of Matarat, the daughter of Metabedzav. I can't pronounce that. Metabedzav. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom. 39. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. And Joseph was 17 years old when they took him down into the land of Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, a eunuch of Pharaoh and the chief cook, bought him, and he set Joseph over all his house, and the blessing of Yahuwah came upon the house of the Mitzrayim on account of Joseph, and Yahuwah prospered him in all that he did. And the Mitzrayim committed everything into the hands of Joseph, for he saw that Yahuwah was with him, and that Yahuwah prospered him in all that he did. And Joseph's appearance was comely, and very beautiful was his appearance, and his master's woman lifted up her eyes and saw Joseph, and she loved him, and besought him to lie with her. But he did not surrender his soul, and he remembered Yahuwah, and the words which Yaakov his father used to read from among the words of Abraham, that no man should commit fornication with a woman who has a man, that for him the punishment of death has been ordained in the heavens before El Elyon, and the sin will be recorded against him in the eternal Sephirim, continually before Yahuwah. And Joseph remembered these words and refused to lie with her, and she besought him for a year. But he refused and would not listen. But she embraced him and held him fast in the house, in order to force him to lie with her, and closed the doors of the house and held him fast. But he left his garment in her hands, and broke through the door and fled without from her presence. And the woman saw that he would not lie with her, and she bore false witness of him in the presence of his Lord, saying, Your ivory servant, whom you love, sought to force me so that he might lie with me. And it came to pass, when I lifted up my voice, that he fled and left his garment in my hands when I held him, and he broke through the door. And the Mitzri saw the garment of Joseph in the broken door, and heard the words of his woman, and cast Joseph into prison, into the place where the prisoners were kept, whom the king imprisoned. And he was there in the prison, and Yahuwah gave Joseph favor in the sight of the chief of the prison guards, and compassion before him. For he saw that Yahuwah was with him, and that Yahuwah made all that he did to prosper, and he committed all things into his hands. And the chief of the prison guards knew of nothing that was with him, for Joseph did everything, and Yahuwah perfected it. And he remained there 2 years, and in those days Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, was wroth against his 2 eunuchs, against the chief butler, and against the chief baker, and he put them in ward in the house of the chief cook, in the prison where Joseph was kept. And the chief of the prison guards appointed Joseph to serve them, and he served before them, and they both dreamed a dream, the chief butler and the chief baker, and they told it to Joseph. And he, as he interpreted it to them, so it befell them. And Pharaoh restored the chief butler to his office, and the chief baker he slew, as Joseph had interpreted to them. But the chief butler forgot Joseph in the prison, although he had informed him what would befall him, and did not remember to inform Pharaoh how Joseph had told him, for he forgot. 40. And in those days Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams in one night concerning a famine which was to be in all the land. And he awoke from his sleep, and called all the interpreters of dreams that were in Mitzrayim, and magicians, and told them his 2 dreams, and they were not able to declare them. And then the chief butler remembered Joseph, and spoke of him to the king, and he brought him forth from the prison, and he told his 2 dreams before him. And he said before Pharaoh that his 2 dreams were one. And he said unto him, 7 years shall come, in which there shall be plenty over all the land of Mitzrayim, and after that 7 years of famine, such a famine as has not been seen in all the land. And now let Pharaoh appoint overseers in all the land of Mitzrayim, and let them store up food in every city throughout the days of the years of plenty. And there will be food for the 7 years of famine, and the land will not perish through the famine, for it will be very severe. And Yahuwah gave Joseph favor and mercy in the eyes of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, We shall not find such a wise and discreet man as this man, for the Ruach Yahuwah is with him. And he appointed him the second in all his kingdom, and gave him authority over all Mitzrayim, and caused him to ride in the second chariot of Pharaoh. And he clothed him with byssus garments, and he put a gold chain upon his neck. And a herald proclaimed him El Wa Avirer, and placed a ring on his hand, and made him ruler over all his house, and magnified him, and said unto him, Only on the throne shall I be greater than you. And Joseph ruled over all the land of Mitzrayim, and all the princes of Pharaoh's, and all his servants, and all who did the king's business loved him. For he walked in uprightness, for he was without pride and arrogance, and he had no respect of persons, and did not accept gifts, but he judged in uprightness all the people of the land. And the land of Mitzrayim was at peace before Pharaoh because of Joseph. For Yahuwah was with him and gave him favor and mercy for all his generations before all those who knew him and those who heard concerning him. And Pharaoh's kingdom was well ordered, and there was no Satan and no evil person therein. And the king called Joseph's name Sophnath Panich, and gave Joseph to be his woman, the daughter of Potiphar, the daughter of the priest of On, the chief cook. And on the day that Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, and in that year Yitzhak died. And it came to pass, as Joseph had said in the interpretation of his 2 dreams, according as he had said it, there were 7 years of plenty all over the land of Mitzrayim, and the land of Mitzrayim abundantly produced 1 measure, producing 1,800 measures. And Joseph gathered food into every city until they were full of grain, until they could no longer count and measure it for its multitude. And in the 45th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, and in the 2nd year, Yehuda took for his firstborn a woman from the daughters of Aram named Tamar. But he hated and did not lie with her, because his mother was of the daughters of Canaan, and he wished to take him a woman of the kinsfolk of his mother. But Yehuda, his father, would not permit him. And this the firstborn of Yehuda, was wicked, and Yehuda slew him. And Yehuda said unto Onan his brother, Go in unto your brother's woman, and perform the duty of a man's brother unto her, and raise up seed unto your brother. And Onan knew that the seed would not be his, but his brother's only. And he went into the house of his brother's woman, and split the seed on the ground, and spilt the seed on the ground. And he was wicked in the eyes of Yahuwah. And he slew him. And Yehuda said unto Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain in your father's house as a widow, till Shalach my son be grown up, and I shall give you to him to be his woman. And he grew up. But Betsuel, the woman of Yehuda, did not permit her son Shalach to marry. And Betsuel, the woman of Yehuda, died in the 5th year of this week. And in the 6th year Yehuda went up to shear his sheep at Timnah. And they told Tamar, Behold, your father-in-law goes up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she put off her widow's clothes, and put on a veil, and adorned herself, and sat in the gate adjoining the way to Timnah. And as Yehuda was going along, he found her, and thought her to be a harlot. And he said unto her, Let me come into you. And she said unto him, Come in. And he went in. And she said unto him, Give me my hire. And he said unto her, I have nothing in my hand, save my ring that is on my finger, and my necklace, and my staff which is in my hand. And she said unto him, Give them to me, until you do send me my hire. And he said unto her, I will send unto you a kid of the goats. And he gave them to her, and she conceived by him. And Yehuda went unto his sheep, and she went to her father's house. And Yehuda sent a kid of the goats by the hand of the shepherd, and Adulami, and he found her not. And he asked the people of the place, saying, Where is the harlot who was here? And they said unto him, There is no harlot here with us. And he returned and informed him, and said unto him that he had not found her. I asked the people of the place, and they said unto me, There is no harlot here. And he said, Let her keep them, lest we become a cause of derision. And when she had completed 3 months, it was manifest that she was with child. And they told Yehuda, saying, Behold, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, is with child by whoredom. And Yehuda went to the house of her father, and said unto her father and her brothers, Bring her forth, and let them burn her, for she has wrought uncleanness in Israel. And it came to pass, when they brought her forth to burn her, that she sent to her father-in-law the ring, and the necklace, and the staff, saying, Discern whose are these, for by him am I with child. And Yehuda acknowledged, and said, Tamar is more righteous than I am. And therefore let them burn her not. And for that reason she was not given to Shalach, and he did not again approach her. And after that she bore 2 sons, Peretz and Zerach, in the 7th year of this 2nd week. And thereupon the 7 years of fruitfulness were accomplished, of which Joseph spoke to Pharaoh. And Yehuda acknowledged that the deed which he had done was evil, for he had lain with his daughter-in-law. And he esteemed it hateful in his eyes, and he acknowledged that he had transgressed and gone astray, for he had uncovered the skirt of his son. And he began to lament and to supplicate before Yahuwah because of his transgression. And we told him in a dream that it was forgiven him because he supplicated earnestly and lamented and did not again commit it. And he received forgiveness because he turned from his sin and from his ignorance. For he transgressed greatly before our Elohim. And everyone that acts thus, everyone who lies with his mother-in-law, let them burn him with fire, that he may burn therein, for there is uncleanness and pollution upon them. With fire let them burn them. And do you command the children of Israel that there be no uncleanness among them? For everyone who lies with his daughter-in-law or with his mother-in-law has wrought uncleanness. With fire let them burn the man who has lain with her, and likewise the woman, and he will turn away wrath and punishment from Israel. And unto Yehuda we said that his 2 sons had not lain with her, and for this reason his seed was established for a 2nd generation, and would not be rooted out. For in singleness of eye he had gone and sought for punishment, namely, according to the judgment of Abraham, which he had commanded his sons. Yehuda had sought to burn her with fire. 42. And in the 1st year of the 3rd week of the 45th Jubilee, the famine began to come into the land, and the rain refused to be given to the earth, for none whatsoever fell. And the earth grew barren, but in the land of Mitzrayim there was food. For Joseph had gathered the seed of the land in the 7 years of plenty, and had preserved it. And the Mitzrayim came to Joseph that he might give them food, and he opened the storehouses where was the grain of the 1st year, and he sold it to the people of the land for gold. And Jacob heard that there was food in Mitzrayim, and he sent his 10 sons that they should procure food for him in Mitzrayim, but Benjamin he did not send, and arrived among those that went there. And Joseph recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And he spoke unto them and questioned them, and he said unto them, Are ye not spies, and have ye not come to explore the approaches of the land? And he put them in ward. And after that he set them free again, and detained Simon, alone, and sent off his 9 brothers. And he filled their sacks with grain, and he put their gold in their sacks, and they did not know. And he commanded them to bring their younger brother, for they had told him their father was living, and their younger brother. And they went up from the land of Mitzrayim, and they came to the land of Canaan, and they told their father all that had befallen them, and how the Lord of the country had spoken roughly to them, and had seized Shimon till they should bring Benjamin. And Jacob said, Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Shimon is also not, and ye will take Benjamin away. On me has your wickedness come. And he said, My son will not go down with you, lest perchance he fall sick. For their mother gave birth to 2 sons, and one has perished, and this one also ye will take from me. If perchance he took a fever on the road, ye would bring down my old age with sorrow unto death. For he saw that their money had been returned to every man in his sack, and for this reason he feared to send him. And the famine increased and became sore in the land of Canaan, and in all lands, save in the land of Mitzrayim, for many of the children of the Mitzrayim had stored up their seed for food from the time when they saw Joseph gathering seed together, and putting it in storehouses, and preserving it for the years of famine. And the people of Mitzrayim fed themselves thereon during the 1st year of their famine. But when Israel saw that the famine was very sore in the land, and that there was no deliverance, he said unto his sons, Go again and procure food for us, that we die not. And they said, We shall not go. Unless our youngest brother go with us, we shall not go. And Israel saw that if he did not send him with them, they should all perish by reason of the famine. And Reuben said, Give him unto my hand, and if I do not bring him back to you, slay my 2 sons instead of my soul. And he said unto them, He shall not go with you. And Yehuda came near and said, "Send him with me, and if I do not bring him back to you, let me bear the blame before you all the days of my life." And he sent him with them in the second year of the week, of the first day of the month. And they came to the land of Mitzrayim with all those who went. And they had presents in their hands, stacked in almonds and terebinth, nuts and pure honey. And they went and stood before Joseph. And he saw Benjamin his brother, and he knew him, and said unto them, "Is this your youngest brother?" And they said unto him, "It is he." And he said, "Yahuwah be gracious to you, my son." And he sent him into the house, and he brought forth Shimon unto them, and he made a feast for them, and they presented to him the gift which they had brought in their hands, and they ate before him and gave him all a portion, and he gave them all a portion. But the portion of Benjamin was 7 times larger than that of any of theirs, and they ate and drank and arose and remained with their asses. And Joseph devised a plan whereby he might learn their thoughts as to whether thoughts of peace prevailed amongst them. And he said to the steward who was over his house, "Fill all their sacks with food, and return their money unto them into their vessels. And my cup, the silver cup out of which I drink, put it in the sack of the youngest, and send them away." And he did as Joseph had told him, filled all their sacks for them, and with food, and put their money in their sacks, and put the cup in the Benjamin's sack. And early in the morning they departed. And it came to pass, when they had gone from thence, Joseph said unto the steward of his house, "Pursue them, run and seize them, saying, For good ye have requited me with evil. You have stolen from me the silver cup out of which my Lord drinks. And bring back to me their youngest brother, and fetch him quickly before I go forth to my seat of judgment." And he ran after them, and said unto them according to these words. And they said unto him, "Far be it that your servants should do this thing, and steal from the house of your Lord any utensil, and the money also which we found in our sacks the first time, we your servants brought back from the land of Canaan. How then should we steal any utensil? Behold, here are we and our sacks. Search, and wherever you find the cup in the sack of any man amongst us, let him be slain, and we and our asses will serve your Lord." And he said unto them, "Not so. The man with whom I find him only shall I take as a servant, and ye shall return in peace unto your house." And as he was searching in their vessels, beginning with the eldest and ending with the youngest, it was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their garments and laded their asses, and returned to the city, and came to the house of Joseph. And they all bowed themselves on their faces to the ground before him. Joseph said to them, "Ye have done evil." And they said, "What shall we say? And how shall we defend ourselves? Our Lord has discovered the transgressions of his servants. Behold, we are the servants of our Lord, and our asses also." And Joseph said unto them, "I too fear Yahuwah. As for you, go ye to your homes, and let your brother be my servant, for ye have done evil. Know ye not that a man delights in his cup, as I with this cup? And yet ye have stolen it from me." And Yehuda said, "O my Lord, let your servant, I pray you, speak a word in my Lord's ear. 2 brothers did your servant's mother bear to our father. One went away and was lost, and has not been found, and he alone is left of his mother. And your servant our father loves him, and his life also is bound up with the life of this lad. And it will come to pass, when we go to your servant our father, and the lad is not with us, that he will die, and we shall bring down our father with sorrows unto death. Now rather let me your servant abide instead of the boy as a bondsman unto my Lord, and let the lad go with his brethren, for I became surety for him at the hand of your servant our father. And if I do not bring him back, your servant will hear the blame to our father forever." And Joseph saw they were all accordant in goodness one with another, and he could not refrain himself, and he told them that he was Joseph. And he conversed with them in the ivory tongue, which is Hebrew, and fell on their neck and wept, but they knew him not, and they began to weep. And he said unto them, "Weep not over me, but hasten and bring my father to me. And ye see that it is my mouth that speaks in the eyes of my brother Benjamin. See, for behold, this is the 2nd year of the famine, and there are still 5 years without harvest or fruit trees or plowing. Come down quickly, ye and your households, so that ye perish not through the famine, and do not be grieved for your possessions. For Yehusha sent me before you to set things in order that many people might live. And tell my father that I am still alive, and ye behold, ye see that Yehusha has made me as a father to Pharaoh, and ruler over his house and over all the land of Mitzrayim, and tell my father of all my glory and all the riches and glory that Yehusha has given me. And by the command of my mouth, by the command of the mouth of Pharaoh, he gave them chariots and provisions for the way, and he gave them all many-colored raiment and silver. And to their father he sent raiment and silver, and 10 asses which carried grain, and he sent them away. And they went up and told their father that Joseph was alive, and was measuring out grain to all the nations of the earth, and that he was ruler of the land of Mitzrayim. And their father did not believe it, for he was beside himself in his mind. But when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent, the life of his ruach revived. And he said, it is enough for me. If Joseph lives, I will go down and see him before I die. I want to wrap it up right there. I love you guys a great deal. I want to thank you for hanging in there with me. I take a long time to do these videos. I get kind of busy. I think we've got probably about one more video for Jubilees to be finished. I just want to gather you all together with me right now and beg Father, Yehusha, watch over us. We're here for a reason. We need you. We're suffering. We're being stepped upon. People are wiping their feet on us. They don't care about us. They mock us. Father, we need your strength and protection. We need your guidance. We need your healing. We need you to grab every one of us and take the poisons out of our system. We want to be yours. We want to be a slave to you. We want to be face down on the ground forever, glorifying you, praising you. Take all the evil thoughts out of our head. Yehusha, we ask these things in the name of your Savior, Yehusha. We're all one in front of you forever. And we love you so very, very, very much. Please reach out to all of us and touch us today. And heal us. And heal our minds. And heal the enemies of us that are trying to hurt us so that they don't come after us. And if the minds won't change, smite our enemies, Father, and protect us. Bring us the things we need. And just know that we just love you. That's all we want to tell you. That's our whole message for you today. We love you. In Yehusha's name we pray. See you next time on Yehusha's Glory.